So my name is Dr. Julia Pullin and I'm the founder of the Chiro Health Clinic. Now, I heard that you'd missed the workshop this week, but that's not a problem. So what we decided to do was actually send you a little video which summarised what we covered, what we learned, so basically you didn't feel like you'd missed out. Alright then, so what do we know about posture? So the first thing that we do know for definite, and when I'm talking about what do we know about posture, we're actually talking about beyond pain. So the first thing that we know is people that have poor posture are less likely to be successful. So levels of success obviously are measured in different ways, but if we're talking about performance, then people that have poor posture are less likely to be promoted. They are also less likely to be paid the same as somebody that's doing the same job. And they're also less likely to be taken seriously, and that's basically because of the fact that they don't look so confident. And so even though what they've said is well founded, that lack of confidence means that people just don't take them as seriously. So it can have a massive effect on your level of success overall by having a poor posture. Then when we're talking about posture, posture influences our levels of happiness. And by our level of happiness, we know that people that have a better posture, they're more likely to remember good memories, so positive memories, things that make them feel good. And then also what we know is that they are also more likely to think positively just in general. That has an impact on them as well. Finally, we know that posture can also have an impact on productivity, and that's because of the fact that it can cause back problems, neck problems, headaches, migraines, heart disease, irritable bowel, depression, stress. So that sort of secondary impact has an effect on your overall productivity within the community as well. So typically when we talk about posture, and I was to say to you, do you have a good posture? Do you think of your posture when you're standing? Do you think of your posture when you're sitting? To be honest, either answers are fine. But the reality of the situation is, even though most of us get assessed with regards our seated posture and our standing posture because they've been standardised, you actually have a posture regardless of what you're doing. So let's say, for example, you are putting the washing in the washing machine or pulling the washing out of the washing machine. You have a posture the whole time that you're doing that particular activity. Now, I'm going to use my mom as an example, don't tell her. But my mom has a shocking posture when she's pulling the washing out of the washing machine, because she puts her hand on the top and then she goes down and reaches in. So she bends and twists and pulls the washing out of the machine. Now, I know that you know that what you should do is squat down directly in front of it and pull the washing out of the machine, okay? But even though I've been a chiropractor and I've been in this profession for many, many years, I find that I still go to put my hand on oh, whoops, not supposed to do it that way. But the reality of it is, a lot of the way that we move our body and our posture is learned behaviour. We learn from the people that we spent the most time with when we were younger. And so we've learned certain habits. And that means that our posture typically ends up being very similar to the people around us. And that's not necessarily due to genetics. So, you know, when people say, let's say, for example, low back problems are in the family. And it's like, yeah, but my dad had a bad back. So, you know, it was inevitable that I was going to get a bad back. Well, that's not necessarily true. Only 30% of the reason will be genetics and 70% is your lifestyle. And if you move your body in a similar way to your dad, that means that you are potentially putting yourself at risk of the same problems as your dad, okay? So it's just something to be aware of when we're talking about posture. You have a posture regardless of what you are doing. So whether it be sitting, standing, slobbing out on the sofa, whether you're squatting, it doesn't matter. Whether you're on your iPad, so you're having like your social time and everything. So instead of being down here, you're up here. So you have a posture regardless of what you're doing. So what you have to do is start becoming aware of how your body is performing at different times. All right then, so what controls posture? Well, what controls posture is two things. So first of all, you have got the muscles. So the muscles have to hold your body in a certain posture. So obviously if certain muscles become weakened, so let's say the muscles in between the shoulder blades become weakened, then what will actually happen is we will start to do this. Our shoulders will start to round because they're not strong enough to hold our shoulder blades backwards, okay? So muscles play a big part in it. But then the other thing that plays a big part in it is the nervous system. The thing is if the nerve supply to those muscles is not functioning how it's supposed to, and so the messages aren't getting to those muscles, then that means that those muscles are going to be weaker as a result of that, which influences our posture. So this is where we come in as chiropractors and osteopaths. Is what we do is make sure that your spine and your nervous system are working to the best of their ability so that those muscles remain strong and are able to hold you into a good posture, and your body is resilient, okay? And you're less likely to get problems because you're less likely to have the postural problems. So let's say, for example, you have had a problem in your spine for a good many years and the nerve supply isn't working to those muscles. Then as chiropractors and osteopaths, we would come in, do a treatment on your spine and your nervous system in order to start turning on the nerve supply again. So get the messages going to the muscles so that they start working how they're supposed to, and then your posture starts to improve as a result of that. Okay, so did you notice that I mentioned that having poor posture can actually cause heart disease? And you might go, yeah, but how? How does having a poor posture influence the heart? Well, it does it in one of two ways. So the first thing that happens is if you've got a poor posture and your shoulders are becoming more rounded, then the heart gets crushed. So obviously it has decreased space, and so that's going to influence its performance. So that would be number one. Now the second reason is very, very interesting. And this is where your understanding of the anatomy comes in. So let's run through some basics from an anatomy perspective. So we've got the base of the skull, your pelvis down at the bottom, which is made up of the two iliac crests, sacrum in the middle, and then you've got your dinky little coccyx there at the bottom. You have 24 vertebrae running up through your spine. Each of them have a little joint, if you can see here, and those joints only move a little bit, but you add up those small movements so you can bend, twist, do all the things that you need to do. These bubbles here are what you feel through your skin at the back, and if I turn you around, you get to see more the weight-bearing part of your spine. So you've got the big vertebral bodies, and then you've got the discs in between. So your disc has three main functions. First of all, it is a spacer, because without the spacer, where this little nerve comes out of here, this hole will get smaller. So we need that to give it the space. Next, it is a shock absorber as well. So obviously it allows for the cushioning when we're moving around. And then finally, the disc allows for flexibility at the same time. Okay, so your brain would sit at the top, spinal cord runs down the centre, and your nerves come out of these holes at the side, like I say. So the purpose of the spinal column itself, the spinal column is designed to act like a suit of armour. It's there to protect the spinal cord. But there's something a little bit strange about that, because you have, I'm sure you'd agree with me that the spinal cord is just a bundle of nerves. It's a thick bundle of nerves, but it is just a bundle of nerves. And so that's got protection, but these that come out of here, they're a bundle of nerves. They're a thinner bundle of nerves, but they're still a bundle of nerves. So why do they not have protection? And this is where things get very, very interesting. So Let me just pop that down a second. So imagine you've had some damage to a nerve. So imagine this is the nerve and this is where the damage has gone and occurred. What happens is, first of all, it will retract away from each other, but it leaves a chemical trail here, okay? Which means that this side is going, woo, I'm over here, and this side is going, woo, but I'm over here. And so what happens is these nerve endings will follow the chemical trail in order to heal and repair, which is amazing. It is so super intelligent. The body is so smart, it knows exactly what to do. So if the nerve supply to the heart is being influenced by joints in the spine that aren't functioning how they're supposed to, so the poor posture has gone and resulted in joint dysfunction, which then interferes with the nerve supply going to the heart, then you get heart problems as a result of it. So the reason that we know this and we've observed this was it began with a guy called Windsor. And Windsor was a very intelligent man who did the Windsor autopsy. So what he became really, really interested in chiropractors and osteopaths, and the fact that we were helping people with problems that were not expected. They didn't expect them to improve as a result of having the spine adjusted or manipulated. Okay, so he, because he was interested in it, he thought, okay then, so if I can find that there's a connection between the spine and the nerves and the organs that the nerves go to, could that be the reason? So what he did, he actually did autopsies and examined 50 cadavers in order to find out whether there was a connection, whether there was a link. And it turns out there was nearly 100% correlation. So this conclusively proved that if you had dysfunction in the spine and the joints weren't moving how they were supposed to, that irritated and interfered with the nerve supply, and if that went, say, in particular to the heart, it would influence the health of the heart. So what are the benefits of having improved posture, of having a good posture? So the first one is it improves your self-esteem. It improves how you feel within yourself, your self-worth, which obviously is a massive thing for some people. Lack of confidence can crush you. It can affect your daily activities. So that would be number one. It improves your coordination so that your body can move, and so it has the flexibility that it needs to be able to do everything that you love to do. So there's that as well. It affects your energy levels, and obviously we want to make sure that you have oodles of energy to make sure you could do everything that you love to do and have your mojo, obviously, goes without saying. It also affects the levels of disease that you could potentially experience as well, and obviously that has an impact on the amount of medications that you could be taking. So making sure that you have good posture is more than just the aesthetics of it, the look. It is so much more, and it really can give you your life back and give you your mojo. So what can you do to improve your own posture at home? Without a shadow of a doubt, the best exercise that you can do is one that we call the YWTLs. And you'll be glad to hear that I have gone and attached a link to it on this, both a video and also a PDF, so that you can print it off and take it wherever you want to, okay? But once you know how to do it, it literally takes just a few minutes and you are good to go. But it really does make a massive difference to your posture. Would you agree with me that everybody should have their spine and nervous system checked at least once in their lifetime? For me, it just makes perfect sense. So if you do want to get your spine and nervous system checked, then all you've got to do is pick up the phone, give us a call, or you can click on the button below.